First question, Jonathan Fagan.
Hey, Stephen. Was the extent of John's injury not expected? Was it more than you guys thought it was going to be? And what are your thoughts now that it's very likely his season is over?
Yeah, it definitely was more than I thought. It was early in the second half against the Clippers. I saw he was kind of running funny, and I asked him, I was like, are you good? And he was like, I feel like I just have a cramp in my hamstring or whatever. I was like, are you good to play? He's like, yeah, I'm good. So he finished the game, and they were doing treatment. Obviously, he didn't play the next game, and there was treatment, and they were trying to figure out, okay, well, maybe we should just do an MRI to check about this. And it ended up being grade 2 strain. So I don't know anything about grade 2 versus grade 1 or 3, but it seems like grade 2 would be, from what they say, 3 weeks, and we have 3 weeks left in the season. So yeah, it was probably more than we thought it was going to be.
As far as his season, he's, he missed a third of it, I guess, but that's a long way from 2 years not being able to play at all. How do you sort of sum up what he was able to do and what it might indicate for the future?
Yeah, he, as you said, he had 2 years to be injured, get operated on, recover, come back. I'm sure there were steps to go into that recovery, probably some down days for him as far as, will I be able to come back? Will I be able to play again? Will I be able to kind of play in the same way that I played before my injury? All of those things kind of creep into it. And I think he proved this season that he can be still a very dynamic starting point guard in this league, leader on the floor, on and off the floor, someone who, when we needed him the most at certain games, he'd come out and give us 30 points and play 40 minutes and all of those things and show all the heart and character that he has. So, yeah, I think this year was a year for him to prove that he's back. And the future for him looks bright, because you can only go from where he was as far as not playing for 2 years, and then you have this year to kind of get your feet under you and understand what you can and can't do relative to how you were playing before. And then next year seems to me could be even better.
Thank you.
Mark Berman.
Stephen, so here you got this John Wall situation. Have you reflected back, thought about how many days you've had as a head coach of the Houston Rockets, where it was a normal, nothing outside the box, nothing goofy, no injuries, no nothing happened, just a regular day?
I guess a little bit. I kind of just expect something happening every day. So, yeah, at some point there will be a stretch of days where it'll just be same old, same starting lineup, same group playing, same everything. And I'm looking forward to those days. But yeah, there have been a lot of days this season where it's just been one thing after another. And
did your 20 years as an assistant really prepare you for all the things you had to deal with this year?
No, they didn't. It's a completely different job, completely different circumstances. I would say my ability to connect with players over the last 20 years has helped. I'd say, like, just watching the head coaches that I worked for handle adversity and deal with whatever was thrown at them definitely helped. But going through it myself, yeah, it's a completely different ball game. And you find out, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about the people around you, especially the people super close to you. And like I said, I think towards the end of the losing streak, I found out a lot about the people and the brotherhood in this league, as far as the head coaches and the assistant coaches and everybody reaching out, even the players who reached out and in support of me and all of the things that I've been going through this season and the Rockets organization.
Adam Spolin.
Stephen, on John, is there a belief that he can play 70 games in a season moving forward?
I believe it, but I'm no doctor or anything. But to me, it would seem that he could really use this year to kind of evaluate where he's at, and we can use it the same way. And instead of having another year of the grind of working to get back, it can be a off season of maintenance and kind of taking care of his body as opposed to trying to strengthen and fix and all of those other things. So I would think that next year would be better as far as the amount of games that he could play, and that because he will have some time to rest, recover, and get better and not have to go through I'm sure it was a heck of a grind that he had to go through over this last 2 years just to get to the point where he was able to play this year.
Ali Khan Bajani.
Hey, Stephen, with the John news, obviously Kevin's going to have the ball in his hands a lot more now, and others as well. But what would you like to see from Kevin from now until the rest of the season in terms of his development as a lead guard?
Yeah, I just want him to play. I just want him to put pressure on the defense with the basketball, make the right plays, learn, listen, make some mistakes, learn from those mistakes, have some success, which he definitely will, and really learn kind of how to play the point. He's never done it besides the bubble, the G League bubble, and then the kind of off and on times that he's had it here. So these 11 games will be good for him. But the one thing I don't want him to do is put a whole bunch of pressure on himself to make every single right play and think that he should be Chris Paul out there. He needs to be Kevin Porter Jr. and play his game, and which is putting all kinds of pressure on the defense with his size, quickness, ball handling ability, passing ability, and scoring.
Danielle Lerner.
Stephen, you just mentioned the importance of making sure that some of these young guys are mentally prepared for, these roles that they're going to be in for the remainder of the season. But is there any sort of upside to having, Jae'Sean and Kevin and some of these younger guys get to play these roles that maybe they normally wouldn't get to?
Yeah, there is. There definitely is. It's the development, right? Like, in order to develop, you have to stretch yourself. You have to put yourself in positions that are a little bit uncomfortable. And we've all done that this season. So to end the season, for those guys to do those things can only help them with their confidence and to help them kind of figure out where they fit and what they need to work on and all of those things. So yeah, it's important for those younger guys to take these opportunities and make the most of them and understand, while understanding that it is a blessing just to be on the court and to be an NBA player and to take every single game and understand that it's not a given to be on the floor, as John Wall can attest to for the last 2 years. So giving it their all and really just trying to do the right things and understanding that there's ups and downs with it, but having that stick-to-itiveness to power through.
Dave Benz.
Hey, Coach, Dave Benz with the Timberwolves. I want to go back to what you were talking about all you've gone through with the team this season. Obviously, you've been working your whole life to get an NBA head coaching job, and the roller coaster ride you've been on has been something else, to say the least. But through all of it, and this might sound weird to ask, but I mean, how enjoyable has the opportunity to be an NBA head coach been for you in this first year?
Oh, it's been great. It's been challenging, but I enjoy the challenge, right? And I knew it was going to be challenging at some level. I didn't know it'd be all of the challenges that we had, but being an NBA head coach is a challenge, right? There's only 30 of them. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed the players and enjoyed learning and enjoyed this great organization I work for and ownership and Rafael and John Wall. Like, I mean, Jae'Sean Tate, all of the relationships that you build and the positivity that you project, even though things aren't going the way you want it to. And, you know, this has been a year that I've learned a lot about myself. And it has been just an incredible journey. And I am thankful and grateful. And if I had known that all of these things had happened would have happened prior to me taking the job, I would have taken it anyway. And like, this has been my dream. And it hasn't been ideal, obviously, but on the other hand, it's been ideal because it's my dream job. So, yeah, I've taken a lot of positives from this season, as challenging as it has been, and to lead a group of guys through not just the adversity of a season, but a lot of other adversity has been something that I'm proud of, and I look forward to continuing to do it.
We'll
That's
take
great.
two
Thanks.
more. James Herbert.
Hey, Stephen. I want to ask about Jae'Sean Tate specifically. Back in training camp, I remember you saying that he was really standing out and that people were going to enjoy watching him play. So you clearly saw he would bring something to the table for the team. I'm curious, he's an unconventional player. Like, what have you learned about his game and how to best use him throughout the year? And how would you say his role has evolved throughout this season?
Yeah, I would say at the beginning of the year, I was seeing him as just a contributor, someone who could kind of fill in the gaps. And as the season has gone along, he has become a starter and has become someone that is just so dependable and someone that can, like, I thought he would fill in the gaps, but I didn't think he would do it to this extent as far as guarding multiple positions, handling the ball, big time offensive rebounds when we need them, defensive rebounds when nobody else, all of those things. So, yeah, he's been, like I said at the beginning, he wasn't having a bad day early on, and he has just grown and learned and gotten better, and just a joy to coach and a joy to be around. But as far as his game is concerned and how he fits in, you said he was a little bit unconventional, and he is, because he's undersized, but he's like a 3-4, and what position is he, and all of those things. But he's a basketball player. He's tough. He's smart, and he's everything that you want in a young player, because you see where he could possibly get, which is to be like a really, really solid, good, dependable player, which he is now, but he can even be all of those times 5.
And
Thank you.
last question, Ali Khan Pajani.
Stephen, follow up to my question to you earlier about Kevin. How now that John is pretty much done for the season, how well do you think Kevin played alongside John, especially in that secondary role in the second half?
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. There were some nights where it wasn't as good, honestly, but I thought they started to kind of turn the corner a little bit towards the end. But they really didn't get very much time to play together. And I would have to really sit down and watch the film, which I'm going to do a lot of this summer, and figure out how to make it better or accentuate the positives and all those things. But Yeah, it's an advantage to have two guys on the floor who can attack defenses, who can put pressure on defenses, who can handle the ball. And I mean, the last few games we haven't really had anybody who can handle the ball. So it's very good to have two guys who can bring the ball up the floor, get the team organized, and make a play for the other guy, or bring the ball up the floor, draw a second defender, make a play for a big. Just to have two guys who are able to do that is a positive for our group. And, like I said, I think it started to get better. It started off maybe a little bit disjointed, and moving forward, it's something that I'm going to have to really put a lot of thought into and make sure it's good, because it's definitely a positive for our group.
Thank you, Coach.